60% of food trucks fail within their first year. Not because the food was bad, not because the location was wrong, because the owner confused revenue with income. And by the time they figured out the difference, they had already spent money that was never really theirs to spend. That one distinction is what this entire video is built around, because the food truck business, when you understand the actual math, is a genuinely strong opportunity. A solo operator running a well-managed single truck can take home $75,000 to $85,000 a year after taxes. A strong weekend at a festival can generate $9,000 in a single day. But the gap between those numbers and what most new operators actually earn comes down entirely to whether they understood their cost structure before they signed anything. Let us start with the real startup cost, because this is wider than most guides admit. A used food truck in good working condition with a documented maintenance history runs $30,000 to $100,000, depending on age, build quality, and existing equipment. A food trailer, which is a lower-cost alternative that requires a tow vehicle but costs significantly less to buy, equip, and insure, starts around $25,000 and is the smarter entry point for most first-time operators. Commercial kitchen equipment, fryers, griddles, refrigeration, generator, adds $10,000 to $30,000 on top of the vehicle cost, depending on your menu complexity. This is where the focused menu concept pays immediate financial dividends. A trunk selling 8 to 12 items uses less equipment, less prep time, less food waste, and less staff than one trying to be a full restaurant on wheels. Permits and licenses are the cost that varies most dramatically by city. A business license runs $50 to $500. A mobile food vendor permit adds $1,000 to $1,000. A health department permit costs $200 to $500. Fire safety inspection adds $100 to $500. Commissary fees. Most cities require food trucks to operate out of a licensed commercial kitchen for prep and cleaning, run $300 to $1,500 per month. Add commercial vehicle insurance at $2,000 to $6,000 per year, general liability at $1,000 to $3,000, and a 3-month operating reserve to cover expenses before revenue stabilizes. Total realistic all-in startup, $65,000 to $160,000 for a full truck operation, or $40,000 to $80,000 for a trailer setup. These are not scare numbers. They are the honest figures that let you plan before you spend. Now, the income math done correctly this time. The average active food truck in the U.S. generates between $250,000 and $500,000 in gross annual revenue. A truck doing 200 events per year at $1,500 average revenue hits $300,000. At a 4-hour lunch service in a downtown financial district, a well-positioned truck does $1,200 to $4,500. A weekend festival run brings $6,000 to $15,000 for a strong 2-day event. A catering job, a corporate lunch, a private event, a wedding, pays $1,500 to $8,000 per booking, with significantly better margins than street vending because there is no slow hour and no food waste from uncertain foot traffic. Here is where the 60% failure rate lives. Gross revenue sounds impressive. Net income is what you actually take home. On a truck generating $350,000 in annual revenue, food and packaging costs consume roughly 30 to 35%. Labor, if you have even one employee, takes another 20 to 25%. Commissary, fuel, permits, insurance, maintenance, and event fees consume another 15 to 20%. What's left, your actual net margin as a solo owner-operator, is somewhere between 12 and 30% depending on how tightly you control every line item. At 20% net margin on $350,000 in revenue, you take home $70,000 before taxes. That's a real business, but operators who don't track those percentages weekly discover too late that their impressive revenue number was hiding a very unimpressive profit. The concept is the single biggest driver of your margin. Pizza and specialty dessert trucks achieve gross margins of 89 to 94% on ingredients alone, because a $12 slice costs under $2 to make. A gourmet burger truck with premium ingredients runs at lower gross margins but commands higher average tickets. Whatever concept you choose, calculate your food cost percentage on every single menu item before you build the menu, not after you've already ordered equipment designed for it. Your first revenue comes faster than most people expect once you stop trying to compete for street parking spots against established trucks. Breweries and wineries book food trucks on weekly rotations. Their own customers are already there, hungry, and spending money on drinks. Approach 3 to 5 local breweries before you open and secure recurring weekly bookings. Corporate office parks for weekday lunch service provide predictable daily volume without competing for public space. Roaming Hunger and Best Food Trucks are platforms where event organizers actively search for trucks, create a complete profile before your first day of service. The strongest long-term revenue comes from direct relationships with venue managers and corporate event coordinators who book you repeatedly without a platform taking a cut. The failure modes beyond financial mismanagement are specific. Launching in winter in a cold weather market without the capital to survive 3 to 4 slow months is one of the most common ways year-one trucks close. Launch timing matters enormously. Spring entry in your market is not a preference, it's a financial strategy. Equipment failure on a high-revenue event day with no maintenance reserve is the second most common disaster. Budget a minimum of $500 per month in a dedicated maintenance reserve from day one, not after your first breakdown. The scaling path from one truck is straightforward. A second truck with a hired operator running a separate route doubles your revenue without requiring your presence on both vehicles simultaneously. Food truck groups with 2 to 4 trucks operating under the same brand and catering operation are generating $500,000 to over $1 million in annual revenue. Many successful operators use the food truck to test and build a customer base before opening a brick-and-mortar restaurant, a path that dramatically reduces the risk of a traditional restaurant launch because you already know what your market wants before you sign a lease. Revenue is not income. Every dollar that comes through your window passes through food costs, labor, permits, insurance, fuel, and maintenance before it becomes yours. The operators who understand that before opening day are the ones still open in year 2. If breakdowns like this are useful, subscribe to the channel. Every video, one real business, the actual numbers, and an honest picture of what it takes to build it.